also in the vicinity.
You're good.
I'm just telling you. Now, when I have worked on the Ward Island, this treatment plant, one thing you people can ensure that when the water coming in flow inside the treatment plant, it has to be only the fecal matter. That means drainage only. But today what is happening in the wastewater treatment plant, all water are coming together, which we then call it as CSOs coming. Means storm water and drainage water all coming together. But here when in the treatment plant, whatever the water has to come, it has to be only the drainage fecal water. Not the other grey water and other our house water. It doesn't require so much of treatment what it should come to the treatment plant. Treatment plant only fecal matter. But at the same time, because see, when it is coming in lot of diluted way, then what is happening? That because of the dilution, proper molecular breakdown is not happening, because it's getting diluted. Because when it is in concentrated, if suppose in the bioreactor they are having a bioenzymatic or a microbial degradation, but it is not able to do it because of lot of dilution. Because if in America per person per capita water to per person is 280 liters, you multiply it with that much of number of population, that means such a lot of water coming to the treatment plant. There's no need, because other water, grey water and other black water can be separate and other water can be separate, which needs actual treatment. So if that comes and treated, still it is understood, but it's not happening today in the treatment plant.
Yeah.
One thing is about dilution. Second, I will tell you about the aeration which they are doing. Aeration, almost 75% cost of the treatment plant goes in the aeration. There is no aeration required, because the bacteria which works, bacteria doesn't work on the atmospheric air. It will, by means of oxidation, it does the work. You know how curd is formed? When we are putting it in the milk, a little curd culture, it will automatically make the curd. So you don't require stirring continuously. So you just leave it. So aeration is another issue.
Is the aeration also treating other chemicals?
No, not at all. It's only dependent on the bacterial molecular breakdown, okay, which is not happening first of all. So main two things, one dilution, another is aeration, which is totally flawed. Third thing about it is actually the treatment of fecal matter cannot happen in the treatment plant, which is a totally flawed kind of a thought and understanding. If you remember, or if your grandparents must have said to you in earlier times, whatever the fecal matter, it used to come and meet with the soil. Now soil microbes and the fecal matter microbes, when they have the synergy, that time it works, the microbes work, and then the degradation happen, but not in the treatment plant. So what is happening today in the treatment plant is lot of sludge formation, and that then goes to the as a biosolids we call it as, and then we take it to the landfills. But we are carrying what? We are carrying all pathogens there. That means again from the treatment plant we are carrying all to the landfills.
So they make sterile biosolids that they're putting out here.
They say that because see they then again say that they put it to the digester. But there also see in an artificial condition, bacteria doesn't flourish. Because see, that's why it is always said that bacteria can live without us, but we cannot live without bacteria. So that is the potential of the bacteria. And like in our system of treatment plant, again what we do, we take it to digester, and we are also doing the dewatering. That means we are removing water. So that's why water resource recovery we are calling it as. We are bringing so much of water which is not required, and again we are trying to dewater it by the centrifuge mechanism and other things. So there is a lot of things which these designs which are there, civil engineering designs which are there, technology which has been fit, it is as per very old kind of thoughts and the designs which were given when there was no microscopes even. Today such a high level microscopes are there with the magnification and all, that we understand what kind of microbes are there. So with that we need to understand Earlier, because they could not identify microbes, they could not see what the molecular level reactions were happening. Now everything can be seen. So when we understand that these microbes need only in a natural way that they cultivate or the culture happens, how we are thinking that it will happen in the bioreactors in the system, and that too by giving them again dilution and aeration. So that is why it is not happening. And instead, if you just walk down inside this treatment plant, you will also find a lot of birds sitting on every tank. Lots of. And they are sitting in the water also and sides also. That means lot of shit also droplings is there, as well as these birds are taking water or whatever the organisms they are picking up, because small insects and all are there. So by means of that, again as we see that today birds are also not able to lay good kind of eggs. Their shells are becoming very soft, or they are not able to give more birth to the new birds or the young ones. So these are the things which is happening. And at the same time, when I saw the flow of every tank water, last tank also I could see nitrification happening. Okay, and that water again getting discharged into the East River. So that's what makes me understand that it's not the question of only Ward Island. Let me tell you, every literally single STP is in the world doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would maybe disagree again about the connection to the eggs. The number one bird we see there are gulls, and the gull populations are doing quite well in terms of their reproduction in our area here. It's not like we're seeing a crash in our gull population, specifically the ones right around the wastewater treatment plants as well that tend to be doing well. And I'll say, I haven't personally tested the water discharged out of the wastewater treatment plant, but I know that they are being held to a standard that it meets the total maximum daily load for.
So that's what that's what they were telling me also. But when I went there and I saw all the tanks literally polluted and even having the trashes also in the secondary also, then they said there is some leakage and that needs to be corrected. That's what I was said. Okay. So that's okay. Even I understand if there is some fault or some corrections which are supposed to be done. But then I am sure that this particular, and see in the last stage also when they are treating it with for the disinfection with the sodium hypochlorite. But that's not able to kill the pathogens. And we are treating it for that purpose. And it's not treating that. So we need to, when the discharge is happening, that water also needs to be studied. And I am sure that things are not, because as such we don't have to even, that's why I did not do the sample analysis. Why? Because when we study about the principles of sewage, the basics science of sewage, we come to understand that what is the flaws which is happening, and that's not the correct way of doing things. So from that point of view, I'm telling you right now.
All right, well, it's definitely something to continue looking into. I think one of the largest problems we have facing the waterway that we experience, though, because again, we'll test on dry weather days and we'll test on wet weather days. The biggest correlation that we see related to fecal pathogens in our waterway as it's from discharge areas and it's after wet weather events, and oftentimes related to poor flushing.
But river keepers on their site, I have seen continuously they have shown enterococcus in the dry season. So like
in the dry season, or
dry only dry season data they have put it in, Riverkeeper has put it in the website.
So I know that
check that.
We find pathogens in the water outside of heavy rain events, but we find that the pathogens go up to frequently exceed unacceptable levels for human interactions in about 72 hours after major storm events, and that's almost consistent across every sample that we get. We also
that is my major concern. We have to change this system of treatment plant itself, because we have to go for more like what you people are doing, the wetlands.
Yeah.
wetland is the natural way of going ahead with the treatment of this fecal matter or any sewage matter is only the right way of doing things.
So it's a good thing, it's interesting you bring that up.
Yeah.
One of the things that we study here is how long does it take for restored systems to be able to provide the kind of ecosystem services that you're referring to jumpstart or to facilitate denitrification at an appropriate level. And one of the things that we have found is that it takes years, if not decades, in order for those systems to establish the kind of denitrifying bacteria in their soils to support that. And then at the scale at which we would need green infrastructure in order to support or replace what the gray infrastructure is trying to do at a concentration, you will hear no argument from me that a place like New York City is a unnatural system. It is absolutely an abomination of the rules of nature.
But
for
natural
how-
can easily happen. That's
how
what. That's why I
communities
said the diluted water, because it is coming to the treatment plant.
Yeah.
Today you are calling it as it is 275 million gallon capacity treatment plant. Why we are calling it as so much gallon? Because we are bringing all water to it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree with that either. Actually, Randall's Island is not a combined system, so you're seeing the green systems over there, but a number of parts of the city, specifically Randall's Island here, usually coastal areas, and the further, if we went further south in the harbor, you would find more of these systems, or what's known as MS4, or separate sewer systems, and I think that's kind of what you're getting at.
That's only
Restored water.
40%.
That's what?
40%.
of the system. But Randall's
Yeah, it has
Island's part of
started
that
like a new
40%.
system. But then
And
again,
it's not even necessarily a new system. If anything, it's almost an older system because it was designed to keep. These were designed in order to send things to the wastewater treatment plant. The MS4 systems were usually designed without having the wastewater treatment plant accessible to it.
so but then that's what I'm saying. Now what we are always suggesting, it's a community based such kind of disposal system at source itself. Like in small areas, there has to be these kind of arrangements instead of bringing all things one place. And suppose when these treatment plants undergo maintenance, at that period they close down.
Yeah.
So during that what? Or maybe during some period that electricity or any problem comes and it stops work. So all things get halted. So that is one of the major issue. Third is about the rainy season. During rainy season it gets completely flooded.
During rain events, yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that we have quite like the same rainy season that other parts of the world have.
Yeah. But still we saw that now whatever the rain is happening, it's very erratic. One day it falls, but it's heavy rains. So that is the concern.
Yeah, and that's a concern for us in multiple ways. Like I said, about more than a half an inch of rainfall over a short period of time results in sewage discharges, and we've seen it. You can actually watch the water during heavy rain sometimes shooting out of there along with all of the other solids that are mixing with it. I think the concern of rain, of erratic rains and different types of rains have considerations related to this. They have considerations related to flood resiliency. Also related to our ability to move about or get through things. So a lot of these roadways, like we talked about, are built in low-lying areas specifically. The irony of New York City is the highest land in our city is used for graveyards.
Right.
So people who it matters least to are the most protected from some of these things. And so these are things that we're considering as part of our climate picture, and what the climate